Today I'll be going through an occupational profile that I did on a family member, and to protect their identity, they're going to be referred to as Sam Smith. So the occupational profile is a summary of the client's history, experiences, their patterns of daily living, their values, and their needs. So all this information is obtained in order to give the occupational therapist in charge a new perspective and understanding of the client in order to develop client-centered goals and interventions for them. So the reason why my client was seeking occupational services was because of anxiety and depression. They struggle with staying organized and level-headed during these episodes, and it's interfering with his new job. The client has dealt with anxiety and depression in the past for many years, actually, which he has attended therapy and taken medication for. So overall, the client is seeking skilled OT services in order to help him stay grounded and level-headed and organized during this crazy time in his life whenever he's feeling anxious and depressed. Overall, the client is very successful in his new job, and he's praised by his coworkers and his boss. The client is a loving son and a brother, and he has a great relationship with his family. Some barriers for the client are the medication that he's on is preventing him from being successful, as they're giving him very bad physical side effects, so he has stopped taking those. And of course, the obvious barriers for my client are his anxiety and depression that are enabling him to stay organized throughout the day and stay focused in his new job. The client is very interested in a close relationship with his family. He loves reading, keeping up with sports, watching TV and movies, and also mental health is a very important aspect to my client. Besides just the fact that he's dealing with things himself, he's also an advocate for mental health issues, so that's something he's very passionate about and loves to spend time on in his free time. Growing up, my client was very active, playing tennis and baseball. In college, he actually created his own nonprofit organization that advocated for mental health causes, so that was something he was very passionate about in college. And then he recently graduated with a degree in nonprofit and is now working in sales. So my client has daily life roles as a brother, a son, an employee, and a friend. Since starting his new job, he tends to stay up a lot later than he should because his anxiety and depression are really messing with his head and not letting him be able to relax at night, and that's affecting him in the morning too, especially with stress and organization. My client's anxiety and depression is causing his morning routine to be more rushed than it usually is and unorganized, and this can sometimes throw off the tone for the entire day. My client also has a habit of taking on too many responsibilities in order to distract himself from what he's feeling, and this again can throw off his entire day. My client is currently working from home, which eliminates any stressors from his morning routine, having to get ready super fast. However, the client's workspace is in his room, so there really is no separation from work and leisure and rest. My client is very supported by his family, helping him through his anxieties and depressions. They always have been. However, my client is a people pleaser, and sometimes he prioritizes putting others over himself. My client believes in putting family first and does not let his mental health affect his relationship with his families, and there were no barriers here. My client's 23 years old. He's from a good home. He has a high school and college education, and is supported by his family when he needs it. Again, there were no barriers to these personal factors. Right now, due to the coronavirus, the client is working from home, which, like I said, eliminates his long commute to get to work, and that does eliminate some stress in the morning. However, the client is going through big life changes right now with wanting to move out, and this can be very overwhelming for him. This is just a very overwhelming time in his life. My client is able to do his work virtually through Zoom, and he also is able to receive therapy through virtual sessions with his therapist, which is great for him, and there were no barriers in this virtual aspect. So based on this information that I obtained from the client, I was able to develop a couple long-term and short-term goals for my client. So the first short-term goal is that the client will demonstrate an organized morning routine, independent, without complaints of stress, within 2 weeks. The second goal is that the client will prioritize a list of IADLs and leisure occupations to reduce workload within 2 weeks. And his long-term goal is that the client will establish an independent routine that enables him to function throughout the day with a stress level less than 4 out of 10 within 4 weeks.